We are talking The Bad Batch, Season 2, Episode 6, Tribe. And what a good episode it was. I thoroughly enjoyed this episode.
Better.
After the last 2 weeks, this was a refreshing change of pace.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I like, just jumping right into it, is with the voices of the droids, you can tell what the tone of the scene is supposed to be. When C-3PO talks, you know it's going to be funny. You know, it's going to be lighthearted. This droid, when he gets there, really deep voice, you know? And it's really serious about what's going on. And it was a serious episode. And I was hoping to see Bosk, but I guess we didn't, you know. There are more to his species, but it would have been cool.
Well, and, you know, it's nice. It started off with Tex selling the chain codes he can fake. It was one of the episodes in the first season when we first learned he could do that. And I thought that was kind of nice, you know, helps him make a living. Help explains how they're able to get around in the galaxy. You know, they didn't dwell on it too long. They were just basically like, hey, here's some chain codes. I made them. You don't got to thing it. But it really goes to show how they can get around the galaxy under the Empire's nose. Because they can...
I love how the Empire invented this brand new identification system, thinking, this is going to do it, guys. This is going to help us spread our empire to every reach of the galaxy. We're going to be able to control everyone. We'll know where everyone is going at any given time. And there's some form of clone that's just like, yeah, I figured out a way to plagiarize him. It's only been a year.
Well, nobody ever accused the Empire of being smart.
Well, Emperor Palpatine was pretty smart. I mean, he did a pretty good job. He just couldn't control the everyday activities of everything.
Was he... Are we talking... Okay, if we exclude the sequel movies, yes, he was smart.
Yes. Well, yes.
Because I do not know what his plan was, but I will accept if that was just a clone of Palpatine, and therefore he had no idea what he was doing. He wasn't the real Palpatine. There we go. Okay. I've just fixed my own head.
He had patience. I mean, look how far he came from when he incepted his plan. Look how long it took him to get there. He had a lot of patience. And if things got set back, he's like, well, I'll figure something else out.
Well, then strike me down. All right, man, I guess. Jeez, you want to talk, maybe?
And no Tundra Walker.
School just ruined my first chance here, so I'm just going to lean back until that.
And Tundra Walker, Palpatine was not a fungal Sith. And yes, C-3PO loves Linda Ronstadt. That is very true.
Yeah, I can say that.
Well, that's no good. Ha! You get it? No, you're no good. All right.
Oh my god! Oh yeah. I thought you were missing Patience by Guns N' Roses.
Wait. That's not a dad joke, is it?
No,
That's
it's not. No, it's not.
No, that counts.
But getting back to the episode, you know, they're on the ship with these, you know, droids who are smugglers, and it seems like everything else. But we also find out they're human or humanoid traffickers, I suppose. Yeah. And our good pal Gungi was about to be sold into slavery.
And we haven't seen him, again, like I said, since the Clone Wars. He was a youngling or a Padawan. He was training and, learning with Master Yoda. And we saw in, what was it, like 3 episodes where they were supposed to be building the lightsaber, got abducted by pirates. It was a whole thing. Good series of episodes.
It was. And it was nice that when we see his lightsaber later, it's the same one he built in the Clone Wars. Mm-hmm. So that was a nice touch. Obviously, you know, Favreau's not going to do something silly and mess that up. Mm-hmm. But I have a question for you.
Oh?
Possibly a what's next for the Bad Batch.
Well.
Who were they selling Gungi to? Did they know he was a Jedi? Because he was by himself.
I don't know. I don't know if they were selling him because he was a Jedi. I don't know if they knew that. I think this was part of the early sort of capture of the Wookiee, because if you remember in towards was it in a book or a comic? I don't remember what it was, but Han and Chewie end up taking off like after the war to go and free Chewbacca's homeworld because it had been enslaved by the Empire.
Kashyyyk.
But remember, the one robot had his lightsaber on his belt when he pulled it back. To me, it seemed like he was by himself. He wasn't being shipped with a bunch of other humanoids
So
being
you
sold
think
into
he's
slavery.
putting him in for like a bounty? Because
I think so. And I don't know if it was something where they were selling him to like Palpatine or selling him to the Jedi in the rebellion. Them breaking him out could have set the rebellion back. This could have been over well before Return of the Jedi if they would have just let Gungi be sold to the rebellion. I'm just joking. That didn't.
Now, what kind of droids were they? Because they looked familiar.
It's a good question. I don't know. They did look familiar, but I don't really know what they were.
They weren't tactical droids. I know that.
No.
But all of them were droids, so it was almost like an entire. Was that like the whole planet run by them, or was it just this little, like crime ring?
Well, remember, it was like a satellite. It was like a space station that they had.
Okay.
And when they landed on it, I've never seen it before, but they did look somewhat familiar. So I'm hoping we see a little more of them. Obviously, they may want to get even with the Bad Batch for taking away, someone they're trying to sell.
Well, we all know that droids need money too.
They do. They need oil. They need all those things
to operate in that galaxy.
Droids need goods and services as well, just like the goods and services that support this channel.
Robotic people. Sorry.
And Fatherly Fandom, Aftermath Life Debt was the book where Han and Chewie liberated Kashyyyk.
Okay.
And yes, they are the droids we're looking for. But, then we get to go. It was nice. They decided to take him, to Kashyyyk to make sure that he got back to his homeworld. They knew of a village. They were bringing him back. Mm-hmm. They get him back. He's welcomed into this other family because he was taken away as a kid. They commune with the trees. And I like that Omega was trying to do it too. I was like, oh, is this where we find out she's force sensitive?
I was thinking the same thing. As soon as she was, putting her head down on the tree and talking with them, I'm like, oh, does she have the force? So I've been trying to figure, like, why she was so important to the cloners. Like, it's been bugging me since the first season. Like, other than the fact that she's supposedly an unaltered clone, which I don't buy because she's a female, so that tells me she's been altered.
Good point. But I think what they mean by unaltered is they didn't speed up her growth.
Her aging, yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't put her through all the same classes.
It makes me wonder, like, first off, why did they make her? Second, why was it so important to them to try and, keep her out of trouble, and why they hired a bounty hunter, Fennec Shan, to go and get her. And Cad Baden's after her too, right?
Yeah. I think we're going to hear more about that. Obviously, I think that's a major point for this series is really what is Omega? Why is she? If they're continuing to try to make sense of somehow Palpatine returned, I think they're going to show that they were trying to, show that clones could be force sensitive. The ability to.
Mm-hmm.
Where is Omega?
Who is Omega?
But I think they're kind of putting that on the back burner, and I think they'll come back to it at a later date because,
probably,
Fatherly Fandom had a great theory that he posted on his video about Fee possibly, working for the Emperor to find all of these artifacts. Like, he is looking for all of these artifacts to sort of power up, do these things. And I wonder if, one, Omega being force sensitive could be them explaining how they got a clone that was able to use the force, because supposedly you couldn't, create that through a clone. But then, according to this theory, some of the artifacts they were looking for, I can't remember the name of the race that sort of created that giant robot and were taking over the galaxy way back in the ancient times. But they had a thing called the Star Forge. And if Palpatine got a hold of that, it could explain how he built all those ships, that for some reason were underwater and all that stuff. It's a great theory, and I wonder if we are going to get back because they're trying very hard to explain the sequels. And if, yeah, the Ratatans. I think I said that correctly. Thank you, Fatherly Fan.
I see a K, so Rakatans?
Oh, Rakatans. Yeah, I can't read very well.
It's okay. Keith makes up his own words all the time. It's cool.
All of it. I'm like a rapper. If it rhymes, I just make it up. I don't care. But I really like that theory because it could explain.
Actually.
But it would be cool if we find out, Fee is actually working for the Emperor, or at least the Empire, looking for these artifacts. They might hire treasure hunters and stuff saying, hey, we got, because she never said where she got that tip that something was there. Oh, no, because Omega found it. That's right. But she knew about it. So it'd be kind of cool if they tie that in, unfortunately, to the sequels to try to explain, how he got all the ships, maybe how he was able to get a force-sensitive clone of himself. I like that because it'd be nice if they tied it together. I would still never watch Rise of Skywalker again. But at least it would make it a little more understandable. It could make it a little better, kind of like, the last season of the Clone Wars, and all of the Clone Wars actually made Revenge of the Sith better, even though Revenge of the Sith wasn't bad to start. But it still helped it.
Vader calls Fee over, find the artifact, and no disintegrations.
And thank you, Fatherly Fandom. George never cared about pronunciations, too. Ha! Yes!
So, Keith, that video that you mentioned by Fatherly Fandom, where could I watch that myself if I wanted to?
You could watch that on YouTube. If I was smart,
really?
I would have got the URL so I could post it with my Stream Deck, but I don't have it. But it was a really good video. They do great videos. If you guys
Are you saying you're not smart?
I am not smart at all.
Not a smart man.
Oh, they're smart, man.
But hey, Fatherly Fandom, if you want to post some of your videos in a chat, I know everyone should go follow them. They do a great job. Very informative videos, very well done. And everyone would be better off if they watch them.
Watching this on YouTube after the fact, head over to their channel, check them out, give them a sub.
That's right. Sub, a like, do all the YouTube things for them. I call them them. I don't know how many people are at the channel. Might just be one. But he or they do a great job, whatever his pronouns are. So follow them, give them likes, watch their videos. You'll be better off for it. But then let's get back, to the video. And there you go. Thank you for the URL. Everyone should follow them. We get the Trandoshians, kind of working for the Empire, which I thought was kind of great because, they've always talked about how they like to take down Wookiees, and they're almost like nemesis to a certain extent, the Wookiees and the Trandoshians. And the one figures out, hey, there's a Jedi here because he sees all of the, lightsaber
did you
markings.
notice that one dude was like, Wookiee pelts for anyone who, I was like, whoa, dude, you're like, you're killing them and wearing their fur. That's messed up.
100 Wookiee pelts.
Yeah.
But I wonder if that was something that they could turn in Wookiee pelts to be paid in credits from
As
the
currency?
Empire. Yeah.
Like it's a whole like fur thing, like they do,
Mhm.
like they did in early days, Canada, North America kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, who knows what where they are in their evolution? That might be the stage. But yeah, that's a lot darker than than it was. Well,
Yeah.
the last episode, and I liked it because like it kind of got back into the balance, the light and the dark side. But they had like dark stuff in the movies in the original trilogy, So this was the dark side, not of the Force, but of like the galaxy. And I like to see it that it was still out there.
Totally agree.
Oh, and
yeah, this is just like everybody says. This is a kids cartoon. Sit them down.
Did you
Those who
notice
haven't seen it say that.
that
Then put on the greatest hits of Chopper. After that, and
And then the droid episodes. Make sure you include the droid episodes.
they did a great job of showing like Wookiees getting shot and other, it wasn't just very one-sided. And when I was watching, I'm like, yep, it's a kid cartoon. The one I shouldn't laugh, but they come down on the Trandoshians, on those battle cats, Cringer, I'll call them because I can't think of what they actually were. You know, it's funny. They like jump on the tank, and the one's going ah and roaring, and he gets blasted. And I think everyone knows. Every Wookiee knows there'll be time enough for roaring when the blasting's done. You got to know when to blast them.
Oh, God.
Underwalker, where are you at?
I wrote that joke yesterday morning, and I've been laughing about it all day. So, thank
He
you.
said, okay.
Hey, that was Kenny Rogers. Come on.
Look,
But
that was a
they
better
showed
joke than what I had. I was just going to call them trash totions, and that was
Cashed it in.
that was like the peak of funny for me.
great. Now I gotta do Gilbert Godfrey for 5 minutes. My minute timer isn't working right now. Oh, I'm not connected. 8:29. Now it's working. Okay, but let's continue to talk about this episode. Enough Trandosians, you know, they were getting theirs just as good as they were getting it almost. So it was really nice that they added that. They weren't stormtroopers just missing everybody. No one from Space Boston is going to not want to be a Trandosian.
Tell us more, Gilbert.
And then, of course, Omega runs off at the end. Why is she always running
Always.
off? When
Every
is she
time.
going to learn? Hey, I'm
Never.
going to chase that little Wookiee to fight that giant lizard man. What is wrong with her? Did she not go to school? You don't chase after Wookiees. Everybody knows that.
Will they tear your arms off?
If they're mad enough. But Gungi kind of likes her, I guess, so he's probably not.
Yeah, I mean, he took the food from her.
I like that. I like that Hunter points out that, you know, he's like, yeah, you know, it's nice to see them just being able to be kids. They'll never actually be able to get this chance. Like in this, he's realizing that the Empire being in control of the galaxy, the state that everything's in, the way that we have to survive, like what Gungi's had to do all this time, ever since Order 66, just having to survive on his own, you know, he couldn't afford to just be a kid, to just enjoy life.
And remember what Hunter said. He said they are both just kids.
Yep.
But they don't get to be, not in this galaxy.
Yeah.
Which, if that isn't a wake-up call for Hunter to start listening to Echo and start taking down the Empire, then nothing is.
I mean, look at Anakin didn't get to be a kid.
Yeah.
How old was he when they grabbed him up?
Neither did the younglings after Order
And he was too old.
66.
When they grabbed him, he was too old. Oh,
Yeah.
oh, Keith. Oh,
9.
wow.
So, yeah, no Jedi gets to be a
What,
kid.
too
They get to be
soon,
kids
Doug?
till they're like
I don't
5.
even know what you're so upset about. I didn't go into the Jedi
Skywalker,
Temple
Master
and murder
Skywalker,
the
what
younglings.
do we do?
But, you know, Grogu got to be a kid until he was about 50, right? 50 years before he met another Jedi.
Well, it wasn't technically 50 for all we know, because he could have been hanging out with Jedis right up till the Mandalorian saved him. Did he really save him, though? Who knows? Maybe they just should have let IG-11 blast him. The show would have been a lot different, though. And Tundra Walker, I have to squint to do the voice. I don't know why.
Because he squints when he does the voice. You ever heard him talk normal?
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't normally talk like that.
If I do a dad joke, he's gonna keep doing Gilbert's until he runs out of money. Or Infinity Stones. When he's broke, I guess. So I guess I won't tell a dad joke.
So once again,
Be
for
at work
anybody,
tomorrow, like, I can't talk.
for anybody new to our channel that you know has no idea what's going on, here on Twitch we do offer what are known as channel points. We call ours Infinity Stones because why not? And if you save up and turn in enough, you can make us do one of 3 different voices. Keith will do a Gilbert Gottfried impression. Dave, what will you do?
Capote.
Truman Capote. And I do Bane for now. I'm trying to change that though.
We got a few other ones in the works. We'll see how they work out.
And just so you know, this episode, or I shouldn't say this episode, next week we get 2 episodes of The Bad Batch.
Looking
The
forward to
Clone Conspiracy and Truth and Consequences. It definitely sounds like we are getting back on track.
it. Well, I have. I'm glad that you brought that up. I have a what's next for that. Yeah. So a little bit of a theory, because I saw the list of the episodes that are coming up, and I was like, oh, we're getting 2, and then I saw the titles, and I was like, oh. All right, so the Clone Conspiracy. This one I think is going to be interesting. I think it's going to finally dive a little bit more into what's going on with all of the clones that are finally realizing, hey, these orders don't seem right. And, I didn't sign up for this. This isn't the type of thing that I want to be doing. But we've already been hearing about a lot of clones that are rebelling, a lot of clones that are, running off, going AWOL. And I think this is going to be a mass departure of many clones all at once. And I think it's going to be this huge conspiracy to the Empire that there's something wrong with all these clones that keep taking off. And I think
Cody's going to lead them.
Who?
Cody,
yeah, probably. That's very possible.
And they have been hinting at the clones, because, in the one episode, we heard the one guy telling, in the best episode of the season so far, the solitary clone, he was telling Crosshair, the loyalty of the clones isn't what it used to be. So I do think they have been foreshadowing this clone uprising.
I don't think Crosshair is going to leave. I don't think, even after this, I still don't think he'll leave with the other clones. I think he's going to try and hold out until they're treating him so poorly that he realizes he has no choice. And I think that's going to lead us into truth and consequences. And I think the truth and the consequences is going to be that Crosshair, as much as he wants to keep serving the Empire, whether he's got that chip in his head or not, he's going to realize that they don't want him there because they don't trust the clones.
I was just going to say, he's going to be judged because he's a clone, even though he is more loyal than anyone else to the Empire, probably. He is going to have to jump ship because of that.
And I think on the other end of that spectrum, we're going to see all of the clones that left. What are they going to do now? What else do they know other than being soldiers? Where are they going to go? What are their plans? Does the rebellion even really exist yet for them to join?
And I honestly think because, in Obi-Wan, we kind of saw a clone sort of begging on that one planet. I think the clone rebellion is going to be crushed fast and effectively. And that's why we don't see, we have Rex and we have Gregor and Wolf that we saw in, Rebels, but we've never seen Cody past, Revenge of the Sith until now. So I think it's going to be dealt with harshly. And that's why we don't see so many clones around, in the galaxy.
Maybe that's the consequences?
Yes.
Like, it'll be a ceremonious thing. They're like, yes, we're on strike. We're leaving. We're not serving the Empire. Gun them all down.
Yep, and we may see, and it may be, they may take out a lot of the conscripted stormtroopers that they're bringing in. But what if they bring in a heavy hitter, like some Inquisitors or Vader? Because, obviously the clones are, Jango Fett. And they can take out...
How many of his own brothers are they going to make Crosshair fire on?
That's a good question. That may be a tough scene to watch.
There's something is going to finally break him. Eventually. It's going to take a lot. He won't leave right away, but something will eventually break him. Because we've already started to see the cracks forming when he sits in his room by himself and he gets up every morning and just kind of stares at the four corners, kind of looks at himself and says, all right, here's another day.
He may not even join the Clone Rebellion. He may just be, I can't be a part of the Empire anymore, but I refuse to go up against it. And that may end up costing his life. And, it's good when you have strong characters like that in a show like this that, each one, the best thing about the Bad Batch is that each of them has their own personality.
Yes.
Much like all the clones, but their personalities are far enough apart to really show where, the other clones are similar, but they have subtle differences.
I mean, look at Wrecker. He's not like any of them. You know?
Right.
Wrecker's
He's-
the college party guy. That's what he is.
He's like a kid. It's always him
Yeah.
and Omega who get excited about the
Yeah.
things. When they're like treasure, and they're like, oh, I
Like
want
every
treasure.
time in this episode when what's his name again? Gungi. Every time Gungi roared, he roared with him.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty funny.
Hunter's the dad. Echo and Tech are like the two older brothers, and obviously Wrecker's the younger kid brother.
Yeah, there's a family dynamic there.
Now we just need to get Fennec Shan back in there. She can hang out with him.
Yeah, I'm hoping she comes back. We haven't seen her in any of the trailers or anything. So I don't know if they're trying to hide her coming back, because it was great when we saw her in the one trailer for season one, knowing she was going to be there. So, we know she's around the galaxy. We know, she's around still 5 years after Return of the Jedi. So it'd be nice to see her either work with the clones, work with the Bad Batch, or maybe come up against them again for another bounty, because we know as the Bad Batch gets do more and more good for the galaxy, the price on their head is going to rise and rise.
Yep.
And I wonder if they are late to join this clone sort of uprising, and they get there too late. And that even kind of pushes them further into fighting the Empire, because they find out what happened to all their brothers.
Well, I was about to say, I wonder if they're even aware of what's going on. Have they heard from any of their other brothers? Because they, even before the Empire, they really didn't get along with the regs, as they called them, anyway. So, I wonder if there's anyone that they would deem worthy of keeping in touch with to kind of keep tabs on what's happening.
And maybe Rex. We know Rex is coming up in this season. So, maybe they do kind of have that connection, and maybe we'll find out they even helped him get to the planet where we saw him on Rebels. Who knows? But it'll be nice to see.
Now, it makes me wonder, does that mean that we're going to see Ahsoka at all?
I don't
maybe.
see why not. That'd be fun. I mean, she's been on every animated series so far.
And she is like Dave Filoni's favorite character.
Yeah.
It would be
But then
nice.
again, she doesn't know him. Why would their paths cross?
Well, because Keith brought up Rex.
Because what?
Keith brought up Rex. If they end up meeting Rex,
I thought you were making a joke for a second.
No, that would be the only connection that I could see that would work. Because you're right. I don't think she knows them.
Yeah.
It could even be, especially, if they do run into her, they could even explain that, there's a young Padawan back on Kashyyyk. I would love to see another animated series of, Gungi on Kashyyyk fighting against the Empire and the Trandoshans. I know there's not enough story there to make it.
Also,
but
can you imagine Wookiee growling for every episode?
Right, exactly. There's not enough dialogue there. We're going to have to learn Wookiee just to watch that show.
subtitles.
Oh, God.
It'll be called Ahsoka and the Wookiee.
But I mean, we could maybe see some connection to Gungi and Ahsoka between the Bad Batch. They know where he is, and obviously, if they trust Ahsoka if they run into her with Rex, they may even tell her if she's like, "I'm looking for any Jedi's who survived Order 66." Maybe, hey, we dropped off a Wookiee Gungi or a Wookiee Jedi Gungi on Kashyyyk.
Wookiee Gungi.
But any other theories, gentlemen?
No other theories from me, but I was curious if I know they make some, complimentary comics, for other Star Wars properties. Is there a Bad Batch comic out there?
No. Not yet, at least. Most of the Star Wars comics from Marvel have been, the new set have been first between A New Hope and Empire. Mm-hmm. Now they're between Empire and Return of the Jedi. We got the Mandalorian comics. Yeah. We got Bounty Hunter comics. But there's been Obi-Wan and Anakin comic, and there's been an Obi-Wan comic kind of placed in this era. But there's not a lot of comics that are actually taking place between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope and Rebels and all that stuff. But it would be nice.
That would be nice.
It's just the live action and TV. It's just the TV shows that are doing that.
Mm-hmm. Well, because I guess one of the things that I would love to see more of or hear more of is like the Bad Batch during the Clone Wars, because we really only got to see them twice. No, like okay,
Before
so during
getting
the Clone
crashed
Wars, we
down.
saw them once, or like in that 3 episode arc in the last season. And then we got to see them on the day that Order 66 took place. But other than that, like we don't hear much about like what they were doing during the Clone Wars. I know there was supposed to be an episode that took place that got cut along with a couple of others, including that one that we see brought up quite often, where it was Boba Fett versus Cad Bane, and that's supposed to be how he got the dent in his helmet and everything. But yeah, I would love to learn more about them. Figure out did they ever have a Jedi general, or were they always on their own? Like how do they feel about how did they feel about everything that was going on during the Clone Wars, other than, they seem to hate clankers like all the other clones?
And they seem
Yeah,
to
they
be a
just got
special
their-
forces unit.
They just got their orders and they did them, right?
Uh-huh.
Good soldiers follow orders.
That's right.
Yeah.
We may even see the Bad Batch if we do see Ahsoka in this series. It may be something where they're kind of helping her find Jedi that survived Order 66. Maybe we'll get an appearance. We already saw Kanan and Jarrus in the
As a
first
child.
episode of season 1, right? Maybe we'll see him again, and they will help him, get away or hide from the Empire. And we may see others, Cal Kestis.
Oh, that'd be cool.
It would be really nice. It would be a nice way because, they killed so many Jedi during Order 66, but there were also so many Jedi in the galaxy that quite a few survived, and obviously some will probably be caught by Inquisitors and some others during the time span between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope and all that. But it would be nice to see a few more stories about the ones that survived and how they're, managing, because, most of them, like Gungi, is going to want to help, Kashyyyk free themselves from the Empire and the Trandoshan's. Obviously, we know he's not successful because we know that's not till, after Return of the Jedi, but it would be nice to see some of that or just more stories about it. But I do think the Bad Batch is going to be leaning more towards them just helping everyday people and kind of being one cell that helps form what what becomes the rebellion, later on in the universe.
Yeah, I
Maybe
think
they're
you're right.
actually they're inspiring people to do that right now.
Yeah. And maybe even helping people like Sid realize that she had better maybe help with the rebellion a little bit because it's going to be better for business for her because she knows eventually the Empire's coming to that. And she's even said, my business is going to be over then, so I need to save up enough money to be okay after that. So she knows that the Empire's bad, and maybe the Bad Batch is helping her see the light that we got to do more to help get rid of this Empire.
And follow the fandom. Yeah, absolutely. I would love to see the beginning of the Inquisitors. I love the Darth Vader book. Really great. In fact, we did a giveaway of that book a while back, and I remember it's a great read. I've read most of the stories that were in it, but yeah, my favorite is the beginning of the Inquisitorius. I love how cruel and ruthless Vader is to them, because he kind of sees them as beneath him, or as possible if they ever get strong enough they could replace him, and so he's killing them off left and right. But it's a great story just to see how they came from these like remnants of younglings, or Jedi that turned to the dark side, or maybe just Force users that they happen to pick up that never really had a place in either the Jedi or the Sith or anything like that. And it's I would love to see that in actual either animation, live action, whatever. I think it'd be great.
Yeah, you're right. The Emperor always had these underlings to challenge Vader, and we see that a lot in the comics too. Emperor is constantly sending Vader on these tests to make sure that he is, worthy to be his apprentice, because if you're not, someone else will step up. And, Vader, rule of two, at some point is going to, well, we know what happens, but, going to challenge the Emperor. So,
Well, also one of my favorite stories from that involved clones and the Inquisitors, and some of these clones still had chips in their heads that could still be activated. And I loved how when the Inquisitors were fighting each other, because they were also, not only were they challenging Vader, they're infighting amongst themselves to get higher ranks and be like first brother, first sister, whatever, and kind of get higher up. And I love how one of them, while they're being chased, is like, execute Order 66. One of the clones snaps and says, kill the Jedi.
And fatherly fandom, would you like to see Hayden back to fill in that timeline action? Yes. There's been rumors that he is going to be in Ahsoka.
He'd get better direction this time.
Yeah.
Probably
we won't
better
see the whiny Anakin. Maybe we'll get the Clone Wars cartoon Anakin a lot more confident, and that would be fantastic. So
what I appreciate.
So you know what they got to stop doing if they have Darth Vader on the show is stop breaking his mask. He never, in the first two movies, Obi-Wan and Ahsoka. So, and it's going to be a thing, I think, and I hope not, because in the movies it never happened until he took it off himself at the end. You saw the in The Empire Strikes Back the brain thing, but that wasn't a big deal. And when he took it off for Luke. Besides that, it never got damaged at all. So it gets damaged so much in the comic, not the comics, but the animated series so far. They should just and Obi-Wan. They should just. That's enough. In my
Ahsoka.
opinion.
Well, Ahsoka. I mean, Ahsoka broke it. Then she realized it was Anakin, which I thought was.
I think she was still struggling to believe that. Like, I think she had heard it, and she's like, "No, there's no way. You're not my master."
That's right.
But if he's the worst, if he's the worst Sith, that's got to be it. That's he had that done twice, and then he don't allow that to happen again, or else.
It's funny how he gives almost the same speech to both of them, where he kind of like reiterates, "You're right. Anakin Skywalker was weak. I destroyed him." And he says it to like Obi-Wan and Ahsoka, and he's almost grinning when he says it, like he's proud of this fact.
Yeah, it really creeped into him by that point. He wasn't on the precipice anymore.
I wouldn't say he was unsavable since we know what happened, but yeah, he was definitely very deep into the dark side because it gave him the power he craved.
Yeah.
Obviously he couldn't save, Padme, but he still relished that power and his standing with the Emperor. Thunderwalker said Jumper was on HBO last night. I need to finish rewatching that
movie. It's got Hayden Christensen and Samuel L. Jackson.
I've never seen it.
It's Hayden Christensen is among other people who have the ability to teleport. They're jumpers, so they're able to go to any place that they see a picture of they've been to before. And Samuel L. Jackson is part of a group that are like of religious fanatics that think that being able to teleport is like being a god, and you shouldn't have that power, and so they hunt him down and kill him. But yeah, it's a good movie. I saw it in theaters, and it proves that Hayden Christensen can act.
Yeah, haven't seen it.
Check it out sometime. It's not bad. It's a decent movie. It's mostly a kid because he's like a teenager, like in high school, when he finds out that he's got these powers, and so he does what any kid would do. He's like, hey, I'm gonna cause trouble. I'm gonna go places that I'm not supposed to go. I'm gonna steal. I'm gonna, kind of a shitbag with him.
Tundra Walker, but he can't teleport fast enough to save his mother. Oh man.
Was he the Flash?
No, because Anakin's mother died on Tatooine.
Oh no, that's so sad.
Yes, fatherly fandom, I agree. I hope they keep it to 3 damaged helmet to 3 times. It meant to represent Obi-Wan was able to reach a bit of Anakin, 100%. Ahsoka was able to reach Anakin a little bit, and to let her know that it really was Anakin. She probably was trying to suppress that. And then Luke, gets the full Anakin back when he sees his full face. And
then we should get one more. Agrees. We should get one more, and it should be C-3PO. He should tear it off and be like, now you know what it's like.
You'd be like, how rude.
He's gonna be speaking the Sith language to him, and then Vader's gonna be like, okay, I'm putting some in. You can never speak that again.
Right.
And don't forget to hit us up at Twitter, leave a comment down below, and we will see you next time on Not Your Status Quo.